Hello, and welcome to Made with Carlenergy. I have someone trying to steal my tea right now. Dude, that's not for you. That's for me. Hi, I'm Carlene, and this is the 5th episode of my podcast. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Carlenergy. Show notes for the podcast are at carlenergy.blogspot.com, and there is a Ravelry group. It's called Made with Carlenergy Podcast. So you can search for that on Ravelry, and do come join us. It would be really nice to have you. It's Sunday, September 20th. I can't believe it's that late in September already, but here we are. And it's another lovely fall day here. The sun is out, but there is a nice cool breeze, and I definitely want to spend some time out in my backyard today. So right after I record, I will probably take my knitting out there. This week I want to say hello to some other podcasters. I have 2.5 finished objects. I have works in progress, of course, and a little bit of stash to show you, and some talk about the knit-along that I want to host very soon. So starting out with saying hello, some shout-outs. Mina of the Knitting Expat podcast mentioned me on her episode this week. So hi Mina, thank you so much for mentioning me on your episode. And it was really nice to see an episode about your adventures in New York City this week. Andy of the Andre Sue Knits podcast also mentioned me. Hi Andy, once again I loved your episode and thank you for saying hello. And Amber of the Crochet Junkie podcast also mentioned me. So thank you so much, ladies. It's great to watch your episodes and then hear my name and see that you're enjoying my podcast as well. Also, Shane of the Nitro Version podcast messaged me on Ravelry this week, and I've been catching up with his podcast, Nitro Version, and Shane, your taste in color and patterns it's really awesome, and I'm glad to be subscribed to you. And 2 podcasts that I've really been enjoying this week are Along the Lanes with Vero, very professionally done, and watching her episodes is kind of like watching a little mini TV show. She films from different angles and different locations, and it's just really lovely to watch. And yeah, the dude is sitting on my knee right now. That's why you see his little face popping up. And also a brand new podcast. There's 1 episode out. It is by Jenny of Tiny Paper Foxes. So you can search on YouTube for Tiny Paper Foxes. Also a very professional podcast. You wouldn't think that it was her first episode. It's very professionally lit, and her projects are absolutely lovely. She's a knitter and a sewer as well. So I'm really looking forward. She lives in Brooklyn, so she's going to be doing a lot of subway knitting stories, and I'm really looking forward to that. So wonderful job, Jenny, on your first episode. And with that, on to my finished objects. I finally have a finished object. I feel like it's been, I don't know, I think I've only shown maybe 1 finished object on my podcast so far. Anyway, I finally finished my Patton's Croy vanilla socks. This is gray, brown, marl colorway. Sorry, dude. And these are for a size 10.5 guy's foot. And I think they're going to go to either my uncle or my brother for Christmas. My dad has plenty of socks already, so it's time to spread the wealth a little bit. Do you want to check them out? Yes, official quality inspection going on right now. And these match, which I'm really happy about. I don't always make my socks match, but I think I might be hooked on making them match because I really like how that turned out. The only thing is when I had to unwind to the starting point on the second ball, because I did that, I ended up running out for the toe, so then I just got to the point where there was more red and did a Russian join to finish the toe off in red. So, very nice and cozy men's socks. Very happy with those. The half-finished object is, where did I put it? Oh, right here. This is one Rose City roller. So I joined the Rose City Roller bandwagon this week. I wasn't sure how practical the short socks would be for me, but now that I've made one, I'm sold. It's very comfortable. I think they'll be great for hanging out in and for jeans and sneakers. So yeah, this is also Patton's Croix socks. This is the spring leaf colorway, which is a little ironic because I'm going to enter these into the Love Sock Wool podcast knit along. So Sarah of Love Sock Wool is hosting the back to school socks knit along. So you can knit any pair of socks that reminds you of going back to school. And these remind me of notebooks and highlighters with the neon yellow stripes. So I knit these on US size 1s. If you've been watching the podcast, you may have noticed that I did start a pair of socks with this colorway, and I only have one 50-gram ball of this colorway, and then I have another ball of Patton's Croix in a different colorway, which I was doing alternating stripes with on US size 0s. And I decided that I wasn't liking those. The gauge was too tight, and yeah, it just wasn't working out. So I ripped those out and started these over on US 1s, and I really like this. I've been doing socks on US 1.5s, which is 2.5 millimeters, and that's just been my go-to needle size. I don't know why I started doing that, but that was just what I was doing. And I was noticing that my socks were coming out a little bit loose with the 64 stitches and that size needle. So I decided I wanted to go down a needle size and see how that fabric turned out. And I'm really happy with it. I think this might be my new sweet spot for socks. So the only thing is, though, I thought I might be able to squeak out a whole pair of short Rose City roller socks on with one 50-gram ball of the Patton's Croix. But I weighed the sock, and I weighed the ball of yarn that was left over, and the sock is heavier. The sock weighs 1.2 ounces, and the ball of yarn only weighs 0.8 ounces now. So I think, or it's pretty obvious to me that it's gonna run out. I don't think I can cheat the numbers at all in that case. So what I'm going to do is, I did start the second sock, and I got the cuff and the heel flap done, and now I'm on the gusset. And I have this other ball of Patton's Croix with this bright pink and also a bright green. So when I get to the toe of the second sock, I'm just going to add in some pink and possibly some green, depending on how far I get. Because my logic is that these colors are also highlighter colors. And so the whole fact that I'm going to be entering these into a themed knit-along is making me much more okay with the fact that they're not going to match, and that I ran out of yarn. And I don't know, I guess that's just how my brain is working. It sounds kind of weird to explain. But yeah, that's my weird knitting logic behind why I'm going to add pink and green into a black, gray, white, yellow sock. So, because highlighter markers run out all the time anyway, you know, they dry out and they're done. So that's my back to school knit along theme for those. So yeah, that was a half finished object as well as a work in progress. And the last finished object is my vest that I'm wearing. This came out of hibernation this morning. I finished the knitting on this sometime in the early summer. I think I had started it in maybe April and finished it sometime in early June, and then just never seamed it. So this is the so the Rose City roller socks. It's a free pattern, I'm sure you've seen, but the pattern is by Mara Catherine Briner on Ravelry. And this is the Moto vest by Shelly Westcott, who owns the Knitterly Yarn Shop in Petaluma, California. And it's a very simple pattern. It's you're basically knitting a ribbed scarf for the front, and then you pick up stitches along the middle of the scarf and knit downwards in ribbing again, 2x2 rib, and then you just seam it together, seam the sides together. So you're getting these little armholes. And the pattern includes a bunch of different gauges, stitch counts for a bunch of different gauges, which is really nice. So you can basically use any yarn you want. I used this yarn that I had inherited from a friend. There were no labels involved. I don't know what it is, but it's this really nice, definitely a wool, a rustic wool in a nice heathered brown. I'm assuming this is a natural color. I don't think it was dyed. And yeah, it's not the softest. It definitely has that rustic wool feel, but it's not scratchy either. It's definitely totally fine for me to have against my neck. I think for people more sensitive to wool, it might be a little scratchy, but I really like it. It's very cozy to me, and I think it'll soften up too once I haven't blocked it or washed it yet, so I think it'll soften up. And it's kind of a heavier worsted to Aran weight, single ply, and it's beautiful, and I'm really happy with how the vest turned out. And I have a bunch of this left over, obviously. I think I have maybe 4 more skeins of this, so I have to come up with something else to knit with it. And yeah, I knit it on US size 9s. I don't know if I said that already. But yeah, very happy with it. I think it'll be very cozy. I left the armholes. I could have, I think, seamed them up even more, but I wanted to leave them pretty open so that I could wear flannels or hoodies or whatever under it. So this will probably be coming to Rhinebeck with me, because if it's a little warmer at Rhinebeck, I might wear this rather than my bellows cardigan, which I haven't worked on at all still. I haven't started the back of it. The 2 sleeves and the 2 fronts are finished, but I haven't started knitting the back. I've been waiting on a longer needle cord for my ChowGoo needles, but the ChowGoo order hasn't come into my local yarn shop yet. So I might just start it. I have, so I just have the 2 cords, which are, I think, yeah, 8-inch cords that came with the kit, or with the needle set, and I used the little connector piece to connect them. So I have a 16-inch cord, and so that might be a little short for the whole back, so it'll be bunched up, but I might just start it anyway, because I really want to, I miss it. I miss working on my bellows cardigan, and I want to make sure it's finished by Rhinebeck. So yeah, I might start that today. I also didn't work on my azalea tank top at all, which is a disappointment, because really all it needs is the side seams, but I haven't touched it since last week, so I'm sorry to not be able to show that, but it's not quite finished. And yeah, so those are 2 projects that I really need to get back to, because I want them for Rhinebeck. Anyway, that's all my finished objects for the week. As far as other works in progress, I have another project that I pulled out of hibernation. This is a Windchief hat by Stephen West. It's one of his earlier patterns, and you can pay for it to download on Ravelry. And so it's this nice beanie with kind of a asymmetrical slit or twisted rib pattern. I'm knitting it on US size 7, 4.5 millimeters, and this is Patton's Classic Wool. I think this is a discontinued colorway, but it's the deep olive color. And I made a whole bunch of these hats for a bunch of the guy members of my family last Christmas, but I didn't end up finishing my brother's hat. So he's been waiting for this since last Christmas, and what happened was, for some reason, I ended up misplacing this ball of yarn, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to need it to finish the hat, because this is all I have left right now. And yeah, I just couldn't find this, so the project was on hold, and somehow I finally found it in my stash the other day. So now I can finish it. I'm very happy about that, and so now my brother will be able to fit in with all the other Windchief hats of the family. So that'll probably be done in another day or two because hats are quick. And the only other only other work in progress is my white caps cowl. I got a few more stripes, a few more inches of this. This is actually an earring where, come here dude, you're being very loud. This is just a little turtle earring that I lost the mate to. So I have a bunch of random earrings where I lost the other one that I want to turn into actual progress keepers with lobster claws, but right now it's just the earring. But yeah, that gives you an idea of where I was, and so I've got about 5 inches of this thing, and it's just a very simple stockinette cowl with some funky yarns. This is a Habu Textiles. It's called Naramaki Slub, and it's a cotton yarn, thick and thin. And then this is Alchemy Yarns Silk and Straw, which is a raw silk, so it's kind of crunchy, but once I wash it, it'll be soft. So, yep, that's coming along. It's boring, but it's nice. I love having a plain stockinette project on the needles. I did do a little bit of spinning for my Fringe with Benefits shawl, but I didn't get to a point where I can add any more yarn. I haven't weighed this, but yeah, I still want to spin some more of this before I unwind it to add to the shawl. So I have been spinning a little bit here and there, but yeah, nothing to show on the fringe scarf yet because I haven't added to it. And let's see, show notes. Yeah, that's it. So I feel like I got some progress on some things, but with other things I'm a little disappointed because, yeah, I'd really like to have my bellows cardigan on the needles again, and my azalea tank top, I really wanted to be finished, but just didn't have the mental space to work on seaming. Although, of course, I seamed this morning because it took me like 20 minutes and it was very easy. But with the azalea tank top, it's the yarn is much finer, and I really want to make sure I do a good job, and I just haven't really wanted to sit there and seam on a sport weight project this week. And the other thing was that my parents visited me this weekend. So my mom and dad were here from Thursday night until this morning. They left at about 9 this morning. And so I was spending a lot of time with them and not knitting so much, although I did get some sock knitting done in the car. But yeah, it was really nice to have them here. We went to Millerton, New York, and we did some antique shopping. And then we went to Kent Falls, which is a waterfall in Kent, Connecticut, and they have this nice trail that you can walk up to see different, the waterfall goes down, and then so the steps go up, and you can stop at these different landing points and just overlook the waterfall, so that was really nice. And I made them some homemade gnocchi, which was really good, and yeah, it was really nice to have them here. I like when they visit. They live in New Jersey, where I grew up, and I'm up here in upstate New York, so it's about 3 to 3.5 hours for us to get back and forth. So yeah, it was nice to have them here. Oh, my stash. So last week I had talked about how I had ordered some yarn from Volenbein, Kristen of the Yarngasm Podcast, her yarn line, Volenbein Yarns. So I ordered some, I totally butchered the name in my last episode. I think I said Wolk because it's, yeah, Wolke, but it's German. So I think it's pronounced Volka. I think that's more accurate to how it should be said. Anyway, it's her 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon blend, fingering weight 435 yards. And this is her new colorway for the fall. This is called Gashly Crumb, and it's based on Edward Gorey, who is a or was a children's book illustrator and author. And yeah, it's so beautiful. I had thought I would have it next or last week, but it got kind of tied up in the mail. What happens is I think it's just a funny. I'm in a funny place, I guess, because if I order from places that are from the city, because this came from Brooklyn, or further south than me, a lot of times, I guess it's just the way that the shipping routes work, but sometimes my packages will get sent up to Albany first, and then they finally come back to me, and I guess that's just the way that the shipping schedules work. But anyway, so it took a little bit longer to get here, and I was afraid that it was lost in the mail because I didn't get any shipping notifications for a few days, but finally they sent me one that said, your shipment has been delayed. Well, yes, I know that because it's not here yet. But anyway, it's gorgeous, definitely worth the wait. Very soft and squishy, and the colors are just beautiful. So it's kind of, it's got this innocent mauve base, and then it's just got these flashes of the acid green and some blues and browns, and I think very fitting for Edward Gorey because yeah, he did write children's books which should be kind of innocent and cute, but then his books had this kind of sinister, morbid twist to them. So great job, Kristen. I think it's a gorgeous colorway, very appropriate for fall, and I showed this last episode, but I'm going to be making a tartessos with it from the current issue of knitty.com. And this just reminds me, for some reason, of like a Victorian type of collar, so I think that'll work nicely with the yarn. And I'm going to start knitting that as soon as I get this off the needles, because these are size 4s, and that's what the tartessos pattern calls for. And obviously, yes, I do have other size 4s that I could use, but I'm trying to stick with one needle set, so that'll get me to finish things before I start other things. But yes, now that it's in my hands, it's very tempting because it's so soft and nice, and I think it's going to be beautiful. So anyway, I'm going to try to finish this first. And the last thing I want to talk about is the knit along that I want to start soon. So I had proposed the idea of doing a Local Love knit along where you can knit something out of either yarn from a local farm or local mill, or if you don't really have access to those types of things, maybe just yarn from your local yarn shop. And a lot of you expressed interest in that on my Ravelry group, so I want to get that going soon. I think I want to maybe do a start date of mid-October, or maybe even my birthday, which is October 23rd. So that'll give you a little time to try to visit a local farm, or somehow acquire some local yarn and plan out what you want to make, and then we can get that started next month. So that's the plan for that. I'm really excited about it. I think it'll be really nice to see different local yarns all over the country and the world, so stay tuned for more news on that. And I totally forget whether I already mentioned this in the beginning of the episode, but I'm at about 200 subscribers on YouTube now, so that's really exciting and very humbling and really great. It's just lovely that you're all here to keep up with me and my projects, so thank you so much for subscribing. And yes, please come join the Ravelry group if you're on Ravelry, and go ahead and say hello. I'd love to hear from you and get chatting about whatever. So thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'm gonna go spend some time outside. Yeah, this was a shorter episode, but I want to get out there and enjoy the fall weather. So I hope you're enjoying your knitting, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.